Hello, this is the dev diary for the 9th of December 22. We have to talk about here progress on the final project, but mainly it's portfolio work this, fortnight, I guess. Wrong fortnight, but let's go. So for our final project, A Coven of Cards, we are getting along with project proposal planning, who's going to write what. We're structuring it like a wiki, so we're going to have 3 documents, one for each team member, and we're going to be referencing each other's documents as we go. As for the actual project, did a bit of changes with resource allocation. Each resource is bound to a playing card. So what I did is I came up with a few new resources to add. So now aces are filled in, and the 2 other blue ones are Dreamscape exclusive items, which we didn't have before. As for crafting stations, we are in the latter stages of figuring out what they will do. The cauldrons, they make potions and quest items to give to townspeople. Alchemy is fusion of materials, so if you have a lot of materials that are the same, like you have 2 of clubs, for example, you can fuse them to make 1 3 of clubs, and you'll see it's a bit small, the text, but the rightmost column has a value for each card, which is multiplied by 4 each time you go down. Rituals will take 6 materials, or upwards of 6 materials, and create a specific high-level material. We are toying around with the idea that there will be a floating node, I guess was how it was described. And what that means is the crafting recipe will be generic across all of the different suits, but you can slightly modify the recipe to have unexpected results. Like you put in the recipe for the Queen of Clubs, but you add in a 9 of Hearts. That will give the ritual a chance to give you a Queen of Hearts instead of a Queen of Clubs, to add some sort of interactivity or chance to a ritual which isn't supposed to be representative of an exact science, I guess. Finally, we're thinking of adding a 4th station we don't exactly know, so we just labeled it crafting as a placeholder. We need items that aren't material, or a crafting station for items that aren't potions and aren't materials. So we're calling them talisman, or we're using talismans as an item that can affect the world, that the player can use, but can also be used for quests. That's the progress we have on Coven of Cards. On to the portfolio. It is in about as much of a done state as it will be. So this is my website. You're greeted with 4 GIFs running, and each of them showing like a different loop of gameplay or level design, at a short summary, and a link to the YouTube, since YouTube is a big part of what I do. It's my link to the gaming industry, as it were. But we can click through. I've picked 4 personal game projects that I've done to represent me. Ace of the Skies, the game jam that we did most recently, the Cursed Carnival, the Walking Sim with help from the 3D art students, Domestic Nightmare, which is also a 3D art student project, and this is the Ivory Elysia, which is the work in progress. All of these explore buttons are work in progress, they don't lead anywhere, but as an example of what happens when you do click one, you get, the brief, you get all of the skills that I think are being displayed, or at least a bit, and then you get all of the concept art and whatnot. We can move on to university work. This is exactly the same as the game projects one, but it's separating out mandatory university work from stuff I've done in my own time. So we have our Eve project, we have our Treasure Island, we have one of the earlier games that I did, the Pirates of the Caribbean themed one, and the Coven of Cards, which is our current project. And all of these are work in progress, except for this Eve project, where we get our brief, we get a link to our game design document, which is all of our documentation that we did for this project. There's a lot of it. All of our team members, all of the skills on display, and a lot more art for this one, since it was a lot more level design heavy, as well as the blueprints that I created for internal use. So we have our about me, it's my bio, my experience, and some game inspiration, just so they can sort of get an idea of what sort of things inspire me and why. And we can go on to secondary skills, which are the things that I have developed completely on my own to sort of assist in my my career as a creative person. So digital art, 3D modeling, YouTube, obviously you're here, and video and audio editing. So yeah, that's the progress on that. Thank you for watching. Until 2 weeks. Goodbye.